Welcome to The Comeback, a series which takes a closer look at my journey as I move back into the ultra running world. This is episode 1. So firstly, let's take a closer look at what I'm hoping to do. I have signed myself up for a 100-mile ultra run, which is taking place the first weekend of May. It's now the end of January. So I have, 3 months to prepare myself and get back into the world of ultra running so that hopefully I can go back out there and put in a performance at the age of 41 that I am proud of. And I don't want to say it, but maybe I can just leave all the ultra running stuff where it is and I don't have to go near ever having to run 100 miles again. So let me give you a little bit of history about the race itself. I've decided to do a run called the Thames Path 100, which is essentially a run from Richmond in London to Oxford in Oxfordshire, all along the Thames. And it's pretty much dead flat. I haven't checked the exact topography, but I think there's only about 200 meters in the entire 100 miles of vert. So it's about as flat as you can get, and you follow the Thames for as much of that as possible. So why am I doing that particular race? First and foremost, I actually live on the course, so I spend a huge amount of my time running up and down the Thames anyway, so it's something that I'm just kind of like really familiar with, and I guess it is like a bit of a, or it certainly feels like a bit of a hometown race for me. Secondly, it was my first ever 100-miler, so when I first got into this many years ago, the first 100 miles I did was the Thames Path 100. I think it was maybe back in 2013, maybe 2012. Was the first time I attempted to do it, and I did that in 19.5 hours. I went back a few years later and managed to run 16 hours 35. So not only was it my first, it was also the fastest 100 miles that I have ever run. And then that time, luckily, because of who turned up or who didn't turn up, I managed to win it. And we will get into more about the course itself in later episodes, and I'll give you a detailed insight as to how I think you should run it and then what my approach is going to be. So first and foremost, that is what I'm taking on, and it's the first weekend of May. So let's dive into who I am as a runner. So I'd probably say that running's kind of always been my first love. I've done it, or I have been around it and kind of gravitated towards it, whether I realized that or not. I kind of always used to go for runs on my own. I wasn't too fussed about joining run clubs. And then I got more and more into the ultra running scene and just kind of participating in events. I have been lucky enough to run all over the planet, and I say that kind of sincerely. I've run in places called Torres del Paine, which is in Patagonia. I've done races in the Colorado Rockies, the Leadville 100. I've participated in events in the Arctic Circle. I've raced in Tromsø in Norway. Like, I've just kind of always made it my mission to get out there and go and do some fun, exciting stuff. So my background is actually quite prolific, and I would consider I have a reasonable amount of experience when it comes to long distance running or ultra running, and it's kind of the sport that I gravitated towards, probably because I'm not necessarily a natural runner, but I have found that if I put a load of effort in, I can get better. So I'm never going to have that real top end speed. I think my fastest marathon's 2:52, which I ran in Sierra Leone, of all places, on a very hot and reasonably hilly, or very hilly course, I will have to say. But the one thing I have done is actually taken my camera everywhere I've gone. So even though I've never really shown anyone, I have footage from the very first time I went to run a marathon, which was a trail ultra. And as you can see here, guys, this is how it begins. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just had a normal backpack on. I'm just trying to make it to the finish. And that was the very start of my journey. And I want to say that was in 2007 or 2008. Since then, like I said, I've run in places like Patagonia. I've run in Italy. I've all over Europe. I've done, been out to places like Chamonix and Cortina and in the Dolomites. So I'd say that I have a reasonable amount of experience when it comes to participating in hilly and adventurous activities. The big thing is, though, back in 2022, I was shooting a series of content for Under Armour, which is a running brand, and whilst I was out shooting, you can see me here taking, literally, this is about 3 or 4 steps before I did it, I managed to fracture my leg in 2 places. I know what you're thinking, like, how do you manage to do that? Well, it was what's called a compression fracture. So ultimately, two bones hit together and then it caused a compression on the behind my knee, on the top bone and the bottom bone. They both kind of knocked together hard enough to cause an actual fracture. And the doctor himself was very surprised to learn that I didn't actually fall over. I was literally just running. I didn't fall at all. I was running. It hurt like crazy. I was like, something's happened to my knee. I thought I might have done a ligament. I got it, eventually got it scanned. It took me 3 months to get the diagnosis or to go and get it. I thought maybe it was something that I could just train through or work through, and that was not the case. And then it took me out for about 12 to 14 months. So this is why it's called the comeback, because now is my time to return to the ultra running world, and I have to get my legs back and I have to get back out there, and I just want to give this one more shot. So where is my fitness at now, seeing as I've had a whole load of time away from running? You might know, or you may obviously be aware, that I spent a lot of that time whilst I couldn't run cycling, and obviously I have kept everyone up to date with how fit I am with my cycling and where my cycling journey has gone. But when we're returning to running, I've found that it has been useful, but I still am missing a ton of the leg speed. So first and foremost, let's just dive into a little park run that I did to show you where my fitness is at. It is so cold and I'm crying because I'm not crying, my eyes are tearing up. We're down at Maidenhead Park Run, and you're probably wondering why training for a 100 miler coming down to a park run. It's pretty simple really. I need a really good engine. Like the lower heart rate I can run like a 8:30 minute mile or a 550k. You know, the easier that is for me, the easier at least the first 20, 30, 40, 50 miles are going to be. So there's no secret, I harbour a few ambitions about doing reasonably well in it. So I want to be fit because that gives me the best chance of covering at least the first 50. And it is a very runnable course. We'll get into that another time, but very runnable course. So park run is going to be my kind of little weekly speed session, and that's about the only speed session I'm probably going to do until I get a little bit closer and start doing some treadmill work. But I need to be fit. I'm not harboring, I'm not really expecting too much from today. We'll see how it goes. This will be the first one I've done since breaking my leg, but they always get really good numbers here, and it is a great park run. That was harder than I thought it was going to be. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. What the hell was that? Right, 2041. Yeah. I'm not sure we're happy with that. Oh, we're alright, let's be positive. Something to take away. Busy week, biking, running, so can't complain. If you go too fast in your first one, you've got nothing to improve on. So 2041, I got to make a lot of changes. Hoo-ah! That was harder, way harder than I thought it was going to be. For context, my half marathon PB is a 78, which is basically quicker than that 4 times, significantly quicker than that 4 times. And it was in Reading as well, where a little bit hilly. So it's all good, life is good. We're back running, knee felt good, no pain, no injury, other than just hurting. Little jog home now, then we'll go out on the bike. So all in all, the best thing is, and the thing that I'll recommend to anyone, is just
just get into the routine of like going and doing these things, whether it's like signing up for a race on the weekend, just get your first one done, and then it becomes easier to get into the routine of doing it, because you have that kind of memory of, oh yeah, I just got to grab my shoes, get out the door and go. So I've been meaning to do this for months. I've been meaning to get out the door, and I chose one of the coldest days of the year. Right, all positives. I'll see you guys on the other side.
So the one thing I really want to dial in is my training, and I want to try and combine a bit of the running and the cycling, or I am going to try and combine the running and the cycling over the course of 2024. So what does my training week look like? Okay, let me take you through it. So Monday and Tuesdays are actually the 2 days that I've targeted to put into my cycle training. So those, in terms of running, are going to be very, very slow, very easy, and the mileage is probably going to be quite low. Wednesdays and Thursdays, again, basically what you will realize is that I'm kind of back loading my week when it comes to running, and then front loading my week when it comes to cycling, and this will make more sense in a minute. Tuesdays and Thursdays are the 2 days when I kind of have a bit more flexibility to try and get a few more miles. Again, Monday through Thursday is all going to be very low intensity, unless my body is feeling up for it, in which case I will gravitate towards a few intervals, or maybe even a tempo session down the line as we get a bit more into spring. Now this is where it gets interesting, because I want to be able to bike race on a Monday night and a Tuesday night over on Swift doing some e-races. I basically have to make sure that I'm getting the bulk of my running done with enough time to at least attempt to recover for Monday, Tuesday. So Friday and Saturday are basically my kind of main run days, or the two big focus days for my week. Saturday is the day where I'm going to be doing my park run, which is my only slated tempo session for the week. It's obviously 5K. I will run there, do my park run flat out, run home, and then follow that up with my slow long run. And I know this is kind of like doesn't quite make sense in some senses. If I was programming someone to run a fast marathon or run a fast half marathon, I probably wouldn't program it like this. But everything that's going on in my life, this makes a little bit more sense, because I'm trying to improve my fitness, but also my main focus is this 100-mile ultra marathon. So doing a 5K tempo session and then going into a really slow, really easy, slow long run on the Saturday afterwards does make a bit more sense to me, given that my performance really isn't like the main focus or the top end speed. So there, we have Monday, Tuesday, which are going to be very easy days. Wednesday, Thursday, which can potentially, I could sneak in an interval set if I was worried about it or if I wanted to. Friday will be a very low volume day and a very easy day if I do anything, 5K at the absolute most, because I want to be recovered for Saturday, which is going to be the hell day, which is 5K in the morning, long run in the afternoon, and then Sunday I'm just going to head out for a nice easy 4 or 5 miler, maybe 10K at the most, zone 2, with the idea being that Monday, Tuesday are my big fast bike days. So Monday, Tuesday in terms of run days are nice and low, and hopefully this will make more sense. So if I layer all my run stuff down here, and then I put my cycle stuff on top, you will get a better idea of which days are kind of going to be really hard for me. And at the moment it's looking like Monday, Tuesday are going to be the tough cycle days. Saturday is going to be the really tough run day. Most of my running is going to be just like really easy, slow volume. I am not afraid to walk on a run. I don't think that's a problem. And I think I would probably suggest to anyone that is getting into ultra running is, if when you are going out for a run and it's a zone 2 run, just don't be afraid to slow down, stop, walk, take a breather, because that is the whole point of a zone 2. You are better erring on the side of caution than you are trying to just go a little bit faster, and basically you're just not being efficient and you're not getting the benefit out of actually trying to run at that speed. So there you go, that's my pro tip for you if you are interested. So there we go, guys. This is my journey towards running 100 miles in May. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to obviously finish with the race itself, culminate with running the Thames Path 100 first weekend of May, which is going to be huge for me. At the moment, my training is, as I've said it is, and that will adapt and change as we kind of get a little bit fitter. I have basically gone from not doing a huge amount of run mileage, I'll throw my Strava up on screen for you to see, to then building it up. And I don't want to get too carried away. Maybe it might build its own momentum, we will see. But the way that my body is handling it is changing already, and it is doing so much better already, and I'm really impressed with it. So like that leg soreness that came with the long run maybe a week or two or a week ago, I now don't have. I can go out and do like a 13, 14 miler without kind of waking up with sore legs for the next 3-4 days. So the adaptation is coming. Nutrition and things like that are stuff that we will get to another time. And my history with the Thames Path 100 is definitely something that we will talk about, as well as all the psychological impacts and kind of what drives people to do 100 miles. We're really going to hammer down into all these sorts of things that I find really interesting about ultra running. So stick around, guys. This is the comeback. So 2024 is going to be a fun and I'd probably imagine very painful year. See you guys on the next one.